Thank you, everybody, for joining us. This is the Inland Empire Brown Berets first episode in our first series of what we hope to become our podcast. We don't have a name for it yet, but what we hope to do is really just spotlight community organizers, people who are really doing their thing here in the Inland Empire as far as making some social change. And it took us some time, but the folks we wanted to showcase first really for us was an organization that has been doing so much within this year, last year, really showing out and making sure that they were showing up for the community. And that is what was, and I'll let them explain this, Black Lives Matter Inland Empire. I have with me today Broderick from the Black Power Collective. He's going to speak to us about the happenings of BLM IE, the restructuring that may be going on, what are some of the issues, as well as the relations between Black and Brown folks, especially pertaining to the Inland Empire, and what we can do to kind of strengthen those bonds. So I'll pause right there and let Broderick come in and introduce himself. Please do the honors, Broderick.
Hey, what's up, Dean? I'm grateful for the opportunity to speak with you. I'm excited for the conversation. From the Black Power Collective, we're formerly known as Black Lives Matter Inland Empire. Um, yeah, excited to be here.
Right on. Did you want to share anything about yourself and what's your background as an organizer and everything for those who might not know?
Okay. As y'all already know, my name is Broderick. I'm from the IE. I've lived in the Inland Empire since I was like 5 years old, back in '97. Um, what else? Just grew up out here. Grew up in the community. Went to grade school all the way up until I had to leave home for college. I started organizing like end of 2014, beginning of 2015. When the Black Lives Matter movement first like started popping off. Um, I met Yoslin and Matthew, the co-founders of Black Lives Matter Inland Empire.
Right.
And really just I've done a lot of work since then. I worked with the Fight for 15 campaign, working to raise the minimum wage to $15 an hour in Long Beach. That was my main area. So played a big part in raising the minimum wage in Long Beach, and as well as statewide. I was part of a socialist organization called the Party for Socialism and Liberation for a couple of years. Did some work across the country. I've led and organized strikes. Just really doing wild shit, like going into a place of business and just like agitating the hell out of the workers in there and just getting them to walk out. I think that's probably the most exhilarating thing I've ever done.
Wow.
I teach political education for the Black Power Collective. That's about it.
So basically, everybody, Broderick is that guy. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Yeah, man. Just as another organizer, man. Definitely, Broderick's work is definitely along with his group and along with his organization, because it is so multifaceted. It's definitely very admirable and it definitely inspires those around you, I would say, to really step it up, man. So very happy to have you here. And so, going on to BLM specifically, the Inland Empire chapter and everything. There has been some restructure going on with your organization. On your post from February 4th, you are your statement that you put out, where you're essentially breaking ties with the global BLM structure and also call out the Los Angeles chapter. You state part of your organization will now be known as the Black Power Collective. I do notice that the IG name is still BLM IE, and so I wanted to ask, if you could let everybody know, where are you with the restructuring, and how much will it permeate throughout BLMIE or formerly BLMIE?
Yeah, thank you. That's a great question, Dean. I think, primarily, we're no longer Black Lives Matter Inland Empire. The thing with the internet and everything is, people take up, usernames and stuff like that. So we've just been working on that. We wanted to have, we're still working on our restructuring. We're doing meetings and getting, our figuring out our new direction, figuring out new guiding principles, internal infrastructure. Like we're basically doing an entire overhaul to basically not only distance ourselves completely from the global Black Lives Matter global network, but also just because we feel that it's a long time coming. We want to build a stronger organization so that way we could build a stronger radical presence in the Inland Empire. Those updates will be coming very soon, most likely by the end of March. But yeah, stay tuned with us. We're still locked in with the community. It's just we don't want to do something that's rushed, and then end up being like, oh, sorry, we have to fix this. Actually, we don't feel this way. So rather take a little longer to do things the right way than just be like, hey, we're changing our name, we're doing this, we've restructured, and then when people come, we don't have anything for them. So yeah, we just want to be as organized as possible.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and that makes that makes so much sense. It's just like like when you talk about just the IG name and stuff like that, just little small things right here, because you want to make sure probably that your socials are uniform and everything like that, so that there's no confusion about anything.
Yeah.
So I mean, just with that statement and everything like that, have you guys received backlash, or has it been something more welcome than anything else, or did it take folks by surprise? What was the general reaction to it?
I think it's been a mixed reaction, mostly on the positive side.
Okay.
You know, in our statement, we mentioned a group called the BLM 10, which is 10 chapters, 10 other chapters, not including us, Black Lives Matter chapters that called out the global network and leadership based on their lack of financial transparency and other problematic behavior that they've shown in the past. So they reached out to us. That was incredibly encouraging. We're there in solidarity. So that's 10 Black Lives Matter chapters that are rocking with us. We have mostly received encouragement, solidarity. We really appreciate it. Yeah, it hasn't. I mean, I don't know if you've seen this. It actually came out, I want to say yesterday. Black Lives Matter Global Network responded to BLM 10's statement that was released probably about 6 or 7 months ago. And they found out that they received $90 million in last summer alone. And that's exactly what BLM 10 and our statement was calling out. Like, where's all this money that we know is being donated? When we want to create a community center for Black and brown people in the Inland Empire, and we're struggling to get that done.
Right.
If we had even 1% of that money, it'd be done right now, and kids would have free internet. We'd be able to have a full packed community fridge, things like that. But that money it's just being hoarded. So yeah, so we their recent response to BLM 10 was nothing more than vindication for us. We'll expect something from them. I wouldn't doubt in the coming months. But overall, from the people that matter, the grassroots, the like leftist progressive organizations, it's all been love and solidarity.
That's cool, man. And so you did cite some examples of the global network's path towards you could say moderation, which is clear to folks who've been paying attention. You cite commodification of the movement, being in bed with the Democratic Party, the BLM PAC, and just just in my analysis of it, you know what I mean. Trying to analyze a movement that's strong. You know what I mean. Do you think an organization within the United States, you know what I mean, within this, the citadel, if you will, that receives that level of platform that the global BLM network did, do you think it can maintain a true radical leftist approach for that sustained amount of time, or do you think it's kind of destined to be infiltrated? That might be a bleak observation, but what do you think?
Um, you know, I think based on history that it is possible for an organization to become like the vanguard without being corrupted. I think there are there's like there has to be nuance to this question. You feel me? So it's like,
Uh,
you know, when you like, since for me, I've been, I was part of BLM basically from the beginning out here in the Inland Empire. And, I was able to see like leadership and I interacted with them and, saw them on a regular basis. And from the start to where they are now, there's like a couple things that, like, now that I'm an experienced organizer, that should have been red flags to me when I first started. But when you first become, or if you first become activated, become radicalized, you're like gung ho about everything. You just want to be there and like do what you can to help. Um, so I would say that I like just with revolutionary optimism, I 100% believe that there is a possibility of a mass organization that can stay principled, can stay uncorrupted, and can avoid being co-opted by the Democrats and any other major political party. Um, I think so, yeah. I'm not going to say that the Black Power Collective aims to be that main vanguard party for the United States. We just want to be a respected organization within the Inland Empire. We're just worried about our community, the Black and Brown youth in San Bernardino, Riverside, throughout the Inland Empire. You feel me? So, but in order to to prevent being co-opted and being corrupted and being taken over by grifters and opportunists, I think we are trying to take steps to prevent that by building strong infrastructure, by having clear and explicit guiding principles and a political platform. That was something that the BLM Global Network, starting off and up till this day, other than cozying up to the Democrats, they didn't have like a clear, concise political platform and internal infrastructure. It was basically, you can start a chapter with our name if we like you, and do whatever you want. So
right.
that can't be the case if you're really trying to build a revolutionary organization. When you look at the Brown Berets back in '66, when David Sanchez got your guys' political platform together, it was explicit. It laid out specific goals. The Panthers had that. The Republic of New Africa had it. It's any serious organization that had any kind of impact has to have a clear, concise political platform,
Right.
and they have to be principled about it. And I think that is how. But then there's also nuance thinking about COINTELPRO, law enforcement doing whatever they can to target us, kill us, jail us. So, it's a lot more difficult. It's a lot easier said than done, but I think it's possible.
Yeah. Thank you. That's a great answer, man. Definitely was something on my mind, at least just from viewing stuff. You know what I mean? Because it's just so crazy how the tactics that the dominant structure really uses to break something apart. You know what I mean? Whether from the inside or from the outside.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and sorry, I just want to, thank you for providing that context. I just want to briefly jump back, you know what I mean, not to, being a weird structure or anything like that, but can you just tell us, for the Black Power Collective, formerly BLM IE, could you give us your brief history and just kind of what your story is, how you guys came to be and really formulated.
Yeah. So, originally, like it says in our statement on leftoutmag.com, you know, Originally, the Black Lives Matter chapter started off as the Black and Brown Underground. It was led by Yas Saucedo, Matthew, and a couple of other people. Um, and they were, doing work, when Mike Brown and, Trayvon Martin and, Tamir Rice all seemed to happen back to back to back, right? And Sandra Bland, they were approached by, Patrice Coolers, one of the co-founders of the Black Lives Matter movement. I believe she's the one that actually coined the term. And they were asked to join. They were asked if they wanted to join the global network. At the time, we thought our politics aligned, but as you see now, that's not the case. But I joined right around that time. Around the time, they had been approached and became an official chapter. But after just years of work, there was Measure Z back in 2017. The case of Isaac Kelly. Lawrence Bender and Massai Cole more recently. And we have our own cases now, unfortunately. But yeah, we've been able to grow and evolve. We have the Feed the People programs. We have the political education program, which is where I work more closely. We still do we still organize against state-sanctioned violence and police brutality, and provide like legal assistance. Or if we have the finances and resources, we try to help Black families that have lost loved ones, and et cetera. So that's a short synopsis of BLM IE / Black Power Collective, Black and Brown.
And you kind of touched on some of the stuff that you're working on right now. You know what I mean. You also got I'm not sure if you mentioned, but I think the Feed the Block, right?
Yeah, Feed the Block is a separate organization. They're based out in Ontario.
Okay.
Yeah, that's we just we rock with them, just like we build with you guys. It's the same kind of relationship. They're just over in Ontario. So yeah, shout out to Feed the Block.
Right on. And then you guys got so how is the community space coming along as well?
The space has been difficult, to be honest. We've been running into some difficulties. We basically got a slumlord, but we are making a lot of progress. We hope to, originally our plan was to be done by the end of this month, to have our soft reopening. That's what we told folks when we first got the space. But due to landlords are parasites. Yeah. So, they're not working with us with getting the necessary repairs done. But we want to give folks an update very soon on that, to hopefully have the space up and running in the next couple months.
Yeah, most definitely. Well, I mean, it's pretty cool, man. Like it's definitely exciting stuff to see, like to even think about a community space and everything like that. And you let us know if there's anything that we as Berets can do, you know what I mean? If it's just, putting in, rolling our sleeves up or fundraising and stuff like that, let us know. We'd be happy to help out.
Yeah, that's the thing. The space is we're using our old name, the Black and Brown Underground, because although we're the Black Power Collective, our goal is Black liberation. We recognize the the common struggle that we all have. We all have the same oppressors. Right. While Black people were being enslaved and brutalized in the South, indigenous people were being enslaved and brutalized in the West. So right. We want the space to be a safe, radical space for organizations like the Berets, like Feed the Block, Food Not Bombs, All of Us or None, all those organizations in the IE. We want them to have a safe space where they can organize and do their own thing.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool, man. Definitely. I'm sure a lot of folks, would benefit from that, even if they're not, keep having their eyes closed to it. I'm sure a lot of folks would benefit from it. Yeah. So getting to more of the I think the the issues that really make your organization really what it is. You know what I mean? I watched, as you guys really kept a close relationship with Massai Cole's family. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? And just on February 1st was the 1 year anniversary of his death. And so, yeah, like I watched, your guys' lives and stuff like that. I think you guys were in Reno Valley in the park and stuff like that. And it was crazy to just hear the story about from his family and everything like that. Just given your guys' past relationship with the family, are there any updates you would like to share about that? Obviously, I'm meaning anything like, too personal or anything like that. I just mean, regarding his, their quest for justice. And for those who don't know, Massai Cole was a young boy, I believe 18,
Yeah.
who was murdered by two white
Two Nazis.
kids. Yes, yes, exactly. One was 18, one was 19. And it's very clear, going into their history and everything, and not even the too much of deep diving, but they had racist sentiments. If not, it was overt. You know what I mean? Because you have one kid who was taking pictures with Confederate flags. You had another one had a racist rap and everything. And so the family, while these kids are being charged with murder, the family is hoping to get kind of the added stipulation that this was a hate crime. But authorities are saying, if I got that correct, it is the authorities saying that there's not anything there to establish that it was a hate crime. So I mean, that's what I find at least last on the internet. Is there anything else that you know?
Yeah, we actually got a couple of updates for the legal cases we're in. With Massai Cole, we're, you basically summed it up. At this time, we got them to basically be held accountable. Originally, they would have been able to get out by the end of the decade. Now they're definitely going to spend the rest of their lives in prison if they get when they get convicted. Um, but we want to keep that out of we don't want to bring too much attention to that because there's how white supremacists can react.
Yeah,
Kyle Rittenhouse got 100 grand for murdering two people, um, and we don't want to give these two Nazi bastards any kind of notoriety. So we're just being silent partners. We brought awareness. And we're just gonna, keep whenever they want to provide more updates. We will provide you guys with more updates concerning Massai Cole. But as for now, we're just, going through the process of, trying to get these two bastards convicted. As far as Lawrence Bender is free. Yeah, we announced that a couple months back. I thought it was interesting because a lot of people were locked in with Lawrence Bender when the uprisings were happening, but when the uprisings kind of slowed down, a lot of people lost interest. But that was a successful campaign. Lawrence Bender is free. He's asked for his privacy, and that's a win for us. Black man is no longer in prison, so
yeah, that's a win that, I mean, it's just incredible. It's just kind of impossible to place a sort of a measurement upon that. You know what I mean? Because you know, at the end of the day, like, you know what I mean? If you never did another thing organizing, that was something that, you just can't take from somebody, you know what I mean? Their freedom, you know what I mean? And that's pretty cool, man, because you got, like how you said, a black man is not incarcerated and he's free and he's with his family. So it's great. Um, and so, regarding kind of this, you know what I mean? The way you guys have been organizing, and you guys have been kind of unapologetic about what your issues are and what is the importance of your organization. And really, I think about Riverside. I think about the area of Riverside. I think about the Riverside County and everything. And I wonder, for you guys, having made so much noise and everything, what has been the local landscape been for you guys? You know what I mean? Are you guys getting any, besides, groups that are leftist leaning or leftist or just community building, are you getting any sympathy or help from, local leaders at all?
As far as like local elected leaders, one of our guiding principles is like we don't endorse them. So once they find out we don't endorse politicians, we're no longer useful. Um,
Yeah.
so that is one thing, and then we just aren't interested. We are divested from electoral politics unless we can get like a proposition passed or something of that nature. But as far as uplifting one person, one politician, in hopes of them helping us, we don't. We've recognized history has shown us that you know that's that's a losing battle.
Right.
But yeah, as far as we're more concerned with building grassroots power, community power. Um, as far as among grassroots organizations, we've received plenty of support. We show solidarity back. It's not just a one-way street when we're trying to build coalitions with Black and Brown organizations specifically. We wanted to be mutually beneficial. Um, in a relationship to where not only we're building and growing in our ranks, but whatever organization that we link ourselves with is also building and growing. Because at the end of the day, it's not necessarily about everyone joining our organization specifically. We're not sectarian in that nature. We just understand that the necessity for the IE to build just a strong, sustainable, radical left presence. Um, so yeah.
Yeah, yeah, because you know what I mean. It can't just be. It really can't just be. Just one organization or one group of people, man. You know what I mean. I think about, and not to speak on a vulnerable issue or anything like that, but when you guys had the incident with the police, and I believe it was for Lawrence Bender
Mm-hmm.
for March for Lawrence. I think about oh man, now you're getting hit with charges and everything like that, and now you're at least for the time being, you don't know how long you're going to be locked up or whatever, and so that impacts an organization, and so you need other organizations out there to step up and do what carry their own. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely, man. And so we're kind of yeah. Actually, perfect. So we did touch on the local landscape and everything like that. Just touching a general topic, you know what I mean, on the topic of defunding the police. You know what I mean? I think when people bring that up, a lot of folks are scared or don't know what it means. How would you explain that call to defund the police to someone unfamiliar with the topic and its history? Maybe not somebody necessarily irate at it or anything like that, but somebody with an open ear.
Okay. So I think when we start this conversation about defunding the police, I think we are being limited in the questions that we're asking people. If we off the top, the police. In my, I hate the police. Most organizers do, but we understand that can be abrasive when we're, trying to get people to join our cause. So it's really about asking, like, do you think that schools should be fully funded? Do you think people should have access to, the appropriate mental and health care that they need? Do you think the parks and should be kept at their tip-top shape and have the most extracurricular after-school programs and things like that? And most people, you'll be hard-pressed to find people that disagree with, giving kids after-school programs and fully funded schools and healthcare and things like that. And it's
Right.
like the only logical solution, if you believe that the community deserves funding like this and more resources, is to cut from the city institution that is sucking up all the resources, and that is the police. Riverside, San Bernardino, both those police stations take up a substantial amount of um, our city's budgets. So it's like, something has to give. If we want new libraries in every community, in every neighborhood, brand new parks, new laptops, free Wi-Fi access for poor people throughout the city, throughout the county, then the police has to come off that money.
Yeah.
And it's just plain and simple. That's the only logical solution. Um, yeah, it's really all about if you want to reduce crime, what they call crime, or make safer neighborhoods. It's not gonna happen by putting more thugs with guns on the street and what we call the police. It's buying books. It's literally the most logical solution. If you don't want any more gun violence or any more violence in the streets, then don't put people on the streets with guns. Put more money in the schools, put more money in parks, things like that. Infrastructure, mental health programs.
Yeah, definitely. No, I definitely I like that. I like that answer. Yeah, it definitely points to a more holistic view of things. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and so as we get to the end of this this interview and everything, I would like to touch on the topic of Black and Brown relations.
Mm-hmm.
And so, this concept itself can be a loaded term. We might not really have a grip on what it means, and it gets thrown around on social media a lot. We see people push for Black and Brown unity, but they never really address what that means or what tangible changes people can make. As a Black organization, what does Black and Brown relations mean to you? And what are your understandings of its importance and its problems?
Just like in a broader sense, the necessity for Black and for African and Indigenous solidarity in a settler colonial state that is the United States. It's the only way that we're going to get a substantial movement to, dismantle and overturn the powers that be. I think on a more micro level, I grew up in the IE. We had I don't know what years you came up. I graduated high school 2010, and every year in high school, I think except my senior year, there was Black versus Brown riots. You feel me? Yeah, and
I was 08, so I was kind of around the same time.
Yeah, so it's you feel me? So that it's there are deeper seated issues amongst these two communities. It kind of reminds me a lot of reading The Wretched of the Earth and The Colonized Mind and everything. Yeah, with Frantz Fanon.
Yeah.
I think that the main thing is just showing that that what alternatives look like. With the Black Power Collective and the Brown Berets, we've always openly and publicly shown our solidarity with each other. We've always supported each other. I think it's just making more examples of that. When the pandemic is over, when we get our space and we can have more events together, more joint events, talking about who our common enemy is. Because, when you think about the material conditions of Black folks, we're worried about getting locked up. We're worried about being taken from our families being split up over bullshit, white supremacist laws. The law enforcement is killing us. We don't have access to healthcare, education, clean water. The same things apply to Chicanic communities as well. And when we recognize that we have a common struggle, although there are some differences that's undeniable. That we'll grow a lot stronger than us doing our own thing separately. I also think that but then there's also anti-Blackness within the Chicano community, and then anti-Brown sentiments within the Black community. And I think a big part of fighting back against that is political education and recognizing, like I was talking about before, educating folks to recognize who their real enemy is and who your real comrade is. And then, really just building from there.
Yeah, and I know this is the older generation, but when you speak to the older generation, especially in Riverside, they'll tell you, they'll probably be the first to tell you that our neighborhoods actually existed pretty peacefully for a long time. Probably prior to the 80s and 90s and stuff like that. But, they'll tell you that we collaborated, we worked together, and we lived rather harmoniously. So it's interesting to hear that, at least from the older generation. Me being a Riverside kid, that's the first community I think of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
sorry.
Bad.
No, you did.
Just going back, Yeah, there's like always been like a mutual respect between these communities, and I think something that really should be stressed is like just how evil law enforcement is, and like COINTELPRO and LAPD, Riverside Police Department, all these people would, sow discord among these communities because divide and conquer makes us all weaker. So
Yeah.
they literally would, um, stage drive-bys, straight up assassinate people, forge letters between community leaders from different organizations to sow discord. And then, during the 80s and 90s, the hyper criminalization of both Black and Brown communities, the criminalization of them, the over policing kind of created an even like more polarization between these communities. Um,
Crabs in a bucket type of thing, right?
yeah, and it's really, but then like as you see, like as you said, like prior to that, there's always been solidarity. The Brown Berets, wore their military garb to like show, solidarity with the Berets and the Young Lords. So
Right.
it's like that. It's always been a long history, but it's about just educating people to show them, and like we see now from the '60s to the 2020s, we're showing solidarity. We've always had each other's backs. So you know, it's just about educating folks and letting people know what the real deal is.
Yeah, I feel like that too. I feel like, you know what I mean? I think, it's good, it's good to be real about, our fuck ups from before, you know what I mean? And
Mm-hmm.
me just speaking as a Chicano, you know what I mean? Like our fuck ups, you know what I mean? Like what we've done wrong, you know what I mean? But I think that for everything we could point to, I think there's also a lot of people who are doing the work as far as bridging the gaps, you know what I mean? And doing the work with a sincere heart. And what I mean by that is not being anti-Black, not being somebody who's, doing one thing or saying one thing and doing another. And so I think that's the things we definitely have to remember as brown folks when we organize and collaborate with Black folks is that there is a long history of this, and there is a template for it, and we have to kind of feel confident in that space to be able to build upon that and create a different future, man. Um, so yeah, I mean, I think we kind of even touched on the last one a little bit. You know what I mean? Checking our anti-Blackness and doing advocacy and stuff like that. So I'll say we're good to kind of end right there. But is there anything else you want to let folks know? You know what I mean? Whether about just keeping up with you guys and stuff like that, or any updates, any last updates?
Yeah, I mean, tap in with us. We're currently still under Black Lives Matter IE, BLM IE on our social media handles, but in the neighborhood, in the communities, we're the Black Power Collective. So, there's still, just tap in with us to stay updated. Um, we have a website, blmie.org. That's another way to contact us. Email us at blmie1966 at gmail.com. Again, I'll say it again, blmie1966 at gmail.com. If you need any community health support, or if you want to, volunteer with us. Yeah, I think that's about it. Thanks, Dean.
Yeah, thank you, Broderick. Appreciate you guys, man. Appreciate all you guys do. And yeah, man, look forward to more that we can do, whether virtually or in person, man.
Yeah, I
So
appreciate it, man. Same here.
yeah, yeah, man. Well, you guys have a great day, man. Take care, and can't wait for us to share this with the community. So peace, everybody. Take care.
Peace.